Hey, welcome to my shop tour 2024. My name's Lucy. I love to build things. So one major upgrade that I made in my shop this year was better lighting. Now my middle-aged eyes are greatly appreciating this. It was getting pretty hard to see those little details on things like drill bits and stuff like that. So I'm sure some of you can relate to that. But anyway, this is a real quick glance and then we'll get into a little bit more detailed tour. So I hope that you enjoy. So at the center of my shop is my saw stop contractor's saw, and I built this storage unit underneath it to allow me to have room for my grippers, extra blades, and a lot of nice additional storage. The bottom drawer here also allows me to have my track saw, and then there's additional storage underneath where I have actually pieces of the track stored. So this has been a great addition to my table saw. So in addition to my main dust collection system, I also have this dust collection cart, which is really fantastic. This nice long blue hose allows me to get all the way to the other side of the shop. I also have one of the blue hoses on the other side so that I can use these same accessories and be able to access from either side of the shop. The vacuum works fantastic. There's a nice 20-gallon bin underneath, and I have it wired with a red light, green light system to be able to tell me when this is full. I have a video on how I wired up that sensor just using parts instead of needing to buy a unit. This is a look at the back side of this cart so you can kind of see that big Mondo filter. With that really nice Super Dust Deputy, you barely get anything that even ever makes its way to the filter. I finally got around to cleaning up the one stall area of my garage. So this is where I have primarily non-shop stuff. So I built that little unit to hold the paddle boards as well as that shelving unit. Perhaps I'll get around to actually posting that footage at some point. But this is a nice area where I can set up sawhorses and tables and get out like the vacuum press if I'm doing veneering, stuff like that. So just kind of some nice extra space. My lumber storage cart is starting to overflow. I have a really hard time throwing away any lumber, so anyway, I need to work on that. Above my dust collection unit there are my parallel bar clamps, and that's one of my favorite parts of the shop because this girl loves some good clamps. I find that I use whatever is open at eye level and easily accessible. So I end up using my Ryobi drills and drivers more than the nicer Bosch ones that I have since received. So I need to probably rebuild this area to accommodate. But you'll see throughout my shop, drills, bits, whatnot are going to be on magnets at eye level and open and exposed. That's the easiest way for me to know where things are and to be able to put things back where they belong. The storage unit under my miter saw is one of my very favorite upgrades. I built out this unit and I use this all the time. It is absolutely fantastic. This top drawer, I keep things like calipers, my Japanese chisels, kind of some more of my, fine measuring type tools. And then I have a lot of storage for small parts in the next couple of drawers. And then I have things like dominoes in this drawer. And then sandpaper and my actual domino in this drawer. Now you'll notice this little bin that says parts to sort. I had planned on putting miscellaneous things in there, and every time I open this up, sorting it, well, you can see I am definitely failing at that. So dust collection for my miter saw is kind of three parts. I've got, of course, the 2.5-inch regular hose part. I've got this big 4-inch area off the back that I can just sweep anything extra into, and then I've kind of formed a hood. So it pretty much takes care of all of the dust. I intentionally placed my miter saw where I did because I've got this side door. So if I'm trying to cut something really long, longer than 12 feet, I can actually bring it in that side door and leave that door open. So I have infinite width in that ability. As we move over to the main dust collection system, you'll see that this also has one of these red light, green light systems that I wired up to be able to let me know when this bin is full. So in the bottom corner there, you can kind of see a little demo of how this works. My brother gifted me 3 of these automatic blast gates, and they are really awesome. So I have that on my table saw, my jointer, as well as my miter saw. Back here I have 3 different weights of mallets that I built, a couple different pole saws, some hand planes, stuff like that. Off the drum sander, you can see that additional blue hose that I'm able to use with that vacuum cleaner extension on this side of the shop. The dust hose coming off of the planer can also be attached to my workbench, and it acts like a nice downdraft table here, so I use that sometimes if I'm doing a lot of sanding. This bench vise I refurbished from an old rusty vise from my high school workshop actually, and added these nice oak jaws to it, and so it's really awesome. You'll notice that all of my stools also end up being used to paint on and stuff, so you'll see another stool that looks a lot like this one. I try to use my space as efficiently as possible, and again, I like things to be exposed and accessible. So I enclosed this drum sander cart, and then I added the ratcheting wrenches to the back of this, and it's a really handy location to have them. I do the bulk of my glue ups from this location, so I have some measuring, marking tools, card scrapers, glue, as well as wax paper right here easily accessible, some bench dogs, again, everything as accessible as I can make it. The dust collection for the drill press works out really nice, and then I just have this little storage cart underneath that's on wheels, so if I do need to be able to lower that table further on the drill press, I can just move it out of the way. But otherwise it makes for nice storage for all my different drill bits and dowel jig and Craig jigs and stuff like that. I built this carousel back when I had a very small shop and I wanted to have like a drill press and bandsaw and little tabletop things on there. Now it just kind of is where I just have a couple of sanders. This is kind of my electronic station where I have a small laser engraver as well as a small CNC. All right, those bright LED lights really hit this router table pretty brightly. But anyway, this is my router table. Lots of nice storage here. I have picked up this used Incra jig, and it's been really nice to be able to make things like that little box there. And again, you'll notice the magnetic strip, so I have everything that I need to change out the bits and raise and lower the router right at my fingertip. Moving on to the jointer here, I have upgraded to the helical head. I did that on the planer as well, which is just such a nice luxury to have if you worked with figure lumber. So one big tool upgrade from my last tour is this monstrous lathe. So I vowed to never have a lathe because they are so messy and I really like to keep my shop clean. Well, I ended up acquiring this super shop and of course had all the other functions already in my shop that this tool can be used for, so I'm using it strictly as a lathe. And as you can see, I'm clearly an expert with this. Definitely not. But I'm certainly learning and I'm improving. I just started playing around with it, so I hope to continue to hone my skills here. So I just built the storage onto the side of this Husky cart for my lathe tools and just starting to get organized and figuring out exactly what I need. Of course, the learning curve with even sharpening the tools has been quite a bit. So my lathe also came with a bunch of random accessories. So just playing around with it, seeing what I can figure out. So this is the other side of that lumber storage cart, and again, as you can see, I might have a little bit of a problem, and it is extended into several shelves within the garage as well, so I definitely need to work on prioritizing what lumber I need to keep and not. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up this year's tour, so I hope that you are out building things, doing wonderful things. If you're just getting started, I just started with a few hand tools. Just make something, and as you go, you'll learn more and be able to do more. I'm learning every single day that I make things, so I hope that you enjoyed this tour, and I hope that you have an absolutely fabulous day. Happy building!